Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial. In today's review or recap will be Wednesday, a Netflix series. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment if you've seen it. Let's begin. So, I always, not majority of the time, when I do a series like a full series and one review, and I'm not doing episode to episode, a lot of times the review doesn't do this series no justice because I'm just taking out the bits and pieces of the series and just giving you an overall what took place. And this is one of those. Despite my review, this is just a summary of what happens, but it doesn't tell the whole ins and outs and everything that leads up to the end. And so I do encourage right off the bat, despite this, if you into the Addams family and all that, go watch this series. It's a good series. The problem I do have with the series is that this, since it's 8 episodes, so what they could have did was launch this in September, and then the final episode would have been, well, no, I forgot, you binge with Netflix, so it's not, you can't do week to week. They don't do week to week with Netflix or whatever. Or they could have did it where they launched 4 episodes like they did Ozark, where they could launch half the series, so they could have did launch 4 and then allow the next 4 to go through. However, but let's just say it should have been launched in the week of Halloween, because we're in the Christmas season. This was launched somewhere like around Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving, somewhere around there, and they should have launched it like the week before Halloween or 2 weeks before Halloween, somewhere around there. They should have launched this because this is right up in the alley of Halloween. Around this time, people were watching, Christmas movies and stuff like that. So it is a good series, but it would have been better if they did it around Halloween. It'd been perfect, matter of fact. So nevertheless, let's get into the review. It's Wednesday. We all know that even in the animated series, the first time, of course, Addams Family, the black and white version from back in the day, the Kooky and all that. Then it finally came out with, in the 90s, came out with a movie for Addams Family. The cool part of Wednesday, played by, I'm going to forget her name, so let me get her name. Played as Kat in Casper. Can't think of her name right now. It'll come to me. But nevertheless, she played as Wednesday in the 90s Addams Family. So it was cool that they brought her back and to the current day Addams Wednesday series for Netflix. And she plays as one of the main characters that you see, that her character was a little off the whole movie, and then you find out who she actually was at the end. So that was cool that they brought her back and allowed Christina Ricci. Man, I couldn't think of her name for nothing. Christina Ricci. She played Wednesday back in the 90s, Addams Family. And she in the show she plays as Marilyn Thornhill. So let's just go over the cast right quick. So you got Jenna Ortega plays as Wednesday Addams. Then you also have Gwendolyn Christie plays as Principal Larissa Weems. Ricky Lindholm plays as Dr. Valerie Kinbot. Jamie McShawn plays as Sheriff Donovan Galpin. Hunter Dewin plays as Tyler Galpin. And these is all main characters that I'm naming. Percy Hines White plays as Xavier Thorpe. Emma Myers plays as Enid Sinclair. Joy Sundays plays with Blanca Barclay. And did I miss anybody? Nobody. Morsa Mustafa plays as Eugene Otinga. And who is Wednesday? Oh, I already said Enid Sinclair. So, all right. So let's get into it. So Wednesday always been the character who's nonchalant about everything. She always terrorized her brother, but always been like mysterious and cool at the same time. Everybody always been like, of course, we always followed Gomez. Oh, I forgot to name the. My apologies. I forgot to name the actors and actresses for Gomez and the mom. They really didn't focus. You know, she gets star time. Even in the animated, I guess she does get a little bit of more star time in the animated series. But Catherine Zeta-Jones plays as the mom, Morticia Addams, in here, and Lois Guzman plays as Guzman Addams. Oh, Gomez, my bad, I said Guzman. Gomez. And so Gomez, we kind of followed him more in the 90s films and the animated films that recently came out, like within the last couple of years. Those was good too. So it kind of really follow Morticia on one of them, and then the other one it followed Uncle Fester, but it followed Wednesday Wednesday was going to the school, and then the mom of the school was doing all this weird stuff. So I mean, if you're into the Addams family, you've been following all this. So nevertheless, it starts off with Wednesday. So this is Wednesday's time to shine. I doubt if we ever get to Wednesday Pugsley, which is Wednesday's little brother. I doubt if we ever get to a series. Pugsley has never really been a fan favorite too much, and you know he's just a little brother. So nevertheless, it starts off Wednesday walks through school, and she goes into the locker room. Not the lockers, and her brother is stuffed in, Pugsley stuffed in the locker. So she asks him what's happened, and he won't tell her because he know she gonna go hard. So nevertheless, she grabbed him, and she was able to see everything he went through. So that's just part of her psychic powers that she's starting to develop, and she's not telling nobody about. So when she found out what kids did it, those kids was in the swimming pool or the swimming area for the school. So she took and put piranhas in the pool, 2 bags of piranhas, and of course the piranhas went crazy on the swimmers, and the main guy that tortured Pugsley got to one of his testicles or whatever. So they expelled Wednesday, and Morticia thought it was best that she go to her old school that she came from, that her and Gomez came from, where it was people just like her with, you know, powers, and that wasn't like the norm where she would fit in more. So of course she took it as abandonment, and that her mom was pretty much she's always at odds with her mom and defying the odds with her mom. So nevertheless, when the mom arrives, she's walking down memory lane, and she's seeing the principal was one of the mom's friends when they were back during the time they was in school, basically saying like the mom was a favorite, everybody flocked to the mom, and Wednesday is defying that, basically saying, I don't want to be nothing like her. But you all will see as the show go on how people start to gravitate to Wednesday because her courage, She don't stand for the okie doke. She goes against the grain. So that's how people start to gravitate her. So she's more like her mom than she thinks she is. So instantly, this story starts to where Wednesday is doing detective work, and she's talking in third person the whole time, narrating the whole series, and it's going through different changes while she's doing the detective. So there's like a Hyde, which is a creature that's killing people in the town, and so the bodies are popping up. Wednesday is having these visions on what took place, how they died before it happens. She can see it before it happens, or see things that happened in the past as well. So it's a lot of moments that builds up to who's the monster. You think it's this person, and you think it's that person, and then you find out why that person is doing the killing and who's linked together to do the killing. So it's a big mystery plot, back and forth. You think this person, and they keep switching who you think it might be. You got it narrowed down, but you just don't know until the end when you thought it was that person and you was like, that person's just weird. And then you find out that person was really involved or whatever. So it's end up being a good series. You find out that back when Gomez and Morticia was in the school, they were madly in love back then, but it was a guy from the town that liked Morticia, and he went crazy. His dad gave him some drugs. He went crazy, and he wanted to fight Gomez. And what happened was he was fighting and beating Gomez, and Morticia grabbed a knife, a sword, and pretty much was like, get off of him. And he ran and rushed Morticia. In the process of rushing Morticia, he ran into the knife and then fell off the balcony. So in effort to not get Morticia framed, Gomez told her to run, so he took the blame, but he ended up getting off because she used all her power. Morticia used all her power to get him off. Meanwhile, that kid had a family. His dad and his family had ancestors that once took the land where they all was. So that kid had a mom and dad, and he had a sister, and they said the sister died, but you find out that the sister really didn't die, and that the sister was coming back for revenge, and she's revealed at the end who she was, and that's played by Christina Ricci. Her character ended up being the one who wanted revenge. So her name was Marilyn Thornhill, and she wanted revenge for her brother and her family, and she wanted to take it out on the school. So it's a lot of different characters. It's a main plot, but then it's a lot of different subplots that go on throughout the series. So if this was done episode to episode, then it would be more of a breakdown on each character on what took place. So if I went over every character, what took place in every storyline, you could get lost in this review. Like, it'd be too long and then you'd be lost. So the overall is Wednesday goes to this school and she does some detective work. She doesn't like the school at first, and in the process, Wednesday faces her side of not wanting friends, wanting to be to herself. So she ended up developing a friend named Enid, who was her roommate, and she ended up warming up to Enid, and Enid was her character. She was like a wolf that was waiting to wolf out. She eventually wolfed out at the end to help save Wednesday, and so that was like a subplot building on its own with that. And then you had the hand thing moving all around, so that he was like Wednesday's like bodyguard in a sense. Uncle Fester showed up in like episode 7, and then he went away just as fast as he showed up. He was just there for like an episode. Uh, so that's pretty much the bulk of it. That Wednesday, and eventually the school got shut down for the rest of the year. Everybody up got sitting home, and all the kids at the end was like, "Oh, y'all gonna come back next year." So you know this is going to be a hit. So you know it's going to be a season 2 of this, and you can see the plot already building for season 2. And Wednesday ended up, like I said, Thornhill found out she was the like puppet master to the Hyde, and the Hyde character was Tyler Galpin. His mom used to go to the school back in the day, and his dad is the sheriff, and he had the powers where it was a scene that showed that you kind of thought it was him, but then they kept switching it where you didn't know whether it was him or not. So nevertheless, he was the Hyde. He was being controlled by Thornhill, and it revealed that at the end or whatever. So overall, decent series. I don't normally rate series, but the only knock is that it came out right after Thanksgiving, going into the holiday Christmas season. Wrong time. It should have been launched in October. So if I had to give it a 4-star rating system, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 4 stars. I gotta take a half off because the timing of them launching it definitely should have been out around Halloween. It would have been just set it off right before Halloween. It'd have been perfect. But nevertheless, definitely subscribe to the channel, like the video, check all the playlists I got set up for if you looking into just going through the Chucky series for season 2. You don't want to watch it, just go through the playlist, just that you caught up on that. Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, House of Dragons playlist on there. Of course, I got my 25 Days of Christmas playlist on there that you can check out as well. And stay tuned to next time.